Yo, what is up, guys? Welcome to the video. I hope your day is going great. Mine is. Today we're going to be talking about all those games from yesterday. They were really hype. Overwatch League is back. I'm super excited. Also, guys, $10 million has been raised by Overwatch for the Breast Cancer Research Foundation. That's absolutely insane. Seriously, I want a round of applause for all of you guys right now. Anybody who helped out for this, absolutely amazing. I really can't believe it. $10 million. That is so much. That's absolutely amazing. I hope you guys enjoy your Mercy skin. And now let's talk about those games from yesterday. Oh, I'm Bible thumping right now, guys. 0 and 40. I think it's going to happen. We're going to talk about that at the end of the video. But first, let's start off with that very first set. Los Angeles Gladiators taking on San Francisco Shock. Real quick though, if you're new around here, guys, be sure to drop a like on the video, subscribe to my channel. I upload content like this every single day. As well as that, I'm going to be live on Twitch tonight after the Overwatch League, so you can come check out my stream. We'll be talking about the games. It'll be really fun. Now let's hop into it. So starting off with the LA Gladiators and the San Francisco Shock. This set was somewhat one-sided. LA Gladiators, they clearly look like the better team. If there was one shining light for the San Francisco Shock, it was that Architect was basically playing out of his mind on everything he touched, which could actually be a bad thing too. He was the only one really playing good. It seemed like he was holding his own rather than anybody else, so might be a bad thing. But we'll talk more about that at the end of this set. Starting off on Blizzard World, Los Angeles Gladiators, they were 5-1 or 5-0 if I remember correctly going into this map. I knew they would win it. I also predicted going into this stage that they would be really good in this meta because they have the flexible pieces. They have Sure4 to play that Widowmaker and hit scan role. They have Fisher, one of the best main tanks in the world. He can literally play Orisa, Reinhardt, and Winston all at the highest level possible. We also knew that Bishu or Void, one of them would definitely be able to fill that Bridget, and Bishu did. He looked great. Then Big Goose and Chaz, nothing changes with them. They're playing the same heroes still. They'll be fine. And the Gladiators look great. They played multiple comps. They had the Zarya out there with Reinhardt. Then they had Orisa out there with Bridget. Their first point defense was pretty much unpenetrable. The San Francisco Shock absolutely struggled. They were running dive, which I don't know if that's the play against Bridget. And I think a lot of these teams are going to start to realize that you cannot run dive against Bridget. We've seen it multiple times throughout the day. We're also going to talk about that a little bit throughout the games. But Los Angeles Gladiators, they went up 1-0 with a great hold on Blizzard World. We then moved on to Horizon Lunar Colony. And it was more of the same. San Francisco Shock, they looked a lot better on this map than they did on Blizzard World, but they still got dominated. LA Gladiators, they looked great on their attacks. They capped all of the points really quickly. They ran some interesting comps. They had a mixture of dive with Sombra in there. Silk Thread was on the Tracer. By the way, Silk Thread was pretty impressive in these first two maps. I wasn't expecting them to run him, especially on a Tracer. You would definitely think they would have Asher in there on that. Maybe Asher's not too comfortable on the Junkrat, so that's why they had Silk Thread in there. But regardless, Silk Thread looked really good. I was impressed with him. And overall, the Gladiators, they looked really damn good. Sure4, he looked good, but he did lose a decent amount of battles with Architect. But hey, he was still doing his job by occupying him and shutting him down at certain points. San Francisco Shock, they ran some interesting comps. They really couldn't get much done on their attack until the very last fight, where Architect just popped off on the McCree. They had Dante in there on the Tracer as well. I don't know, it was just an interesting map. A lot of comps were played, a huge variety of heroes, just as Muma said would happen, which is really fun to see, so it was exciting. But the LA Gladiators, they were the better team. Clearly, they went up 2-0 in this set. We then moved on to Lijiang Tower, and this was an interesting one. I was really intrigued to see what teams were going to be running. We started off on Gardens, and we saw Pharah tank comps. It was interesting though because San Francisco Shock decided not to run the Brigida, which I thought was kind of weird. I don't know. I feel like if you're running tanks, you need to run the Bridget. She's just too strong, especially comboed with a Reinhardt, and we saw that from the Gladiators. They had the Zarya, they had the Bridget, they had the Reinhardt. Fisher was literally unkillable with all the shields he was getting from Bishu and Sure4. And San Francisco Shock, there's no way to crack that Reinhardt unless you have your own Bridget to stun him. So Super just got melted. He couldn't do much. Architect, he looked pretty good on the Pharah. Like I said, he was really flexible throughout this entire set, and he looked good on all the heroes he touched, but it just wasn't enough. Hydration's Pharah was also pretty good, and it was just a comp disadvantage in my opinion for San Francisco Shock. You really need that Bridget. They lost the first round, and then we moved on to Night Market. It was pretty much the same story. Gladiators, they had the Bridget. San Francisco Shock, they didn't. They were also running a Junkrat this time instead of the Pharah, which Hydration was still on. I like the Junkrat pick. It's hard to get stuff done though still because of all those shields. Fisher's really just unstoppable in these fights. You just need a Bridget to combo with the Reinhardt and Zarya, 100%. It was a very close round though. It went back and forth the entire time. Eventually though, the Gladiators did take it, And I feel like, I don't know, why run the Diva over the Bridget? You're just literally going to feed the other team Zarya. I don't agree with it. I think San Francisco Shock probably need to take a look at their comps and fit in a Bridget there somewhere. So Gladiators took it 2-0, and they were up in the set 3-0. It was over. We then moved on to Gibraltar, the very last map of this set. And finally, the San Francisco Shock were able to gain some ground against this Gladiators roster. And to be honest, I feel like the main reason and the only reason that they were able to take this map down was because the Gladiators really couldn't utilize their Bridget comp. They couldn't run tanks, which Gladiators seem to be really good on so far in this meta. And San Francisco Shock, they got to play their dive game. Sinatra, he was creating havoc. Architect had all the space in the world. He actually just showed up on this map. Architect was a big reason they were able to take this map. I know I've been hyping him up throughout this entire video so far, but he really did play great yesterday. And without him, this set probably would have been a huge stomp, like massive one. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this set. San Francisco Shock, they were able to get the last map. It was 3-1 in favor of the Gladiators. I was super impressed with the Gladiators. I felt like San Francisco Shock, they were maybe forcing some things that they shouldn't have throughout the maps. They'll definitely have to work on that, but that's pretty much it for this set. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one, which was the Los Angeles Valiant taking on the Seoul Dynasty. This was a really exciting set. I did an analysis on it yesterday, the very last map, and I was hyped watching the entire thing. I thought Seoul Dynasty was going to come out, especially after Blizzard World, and just take over in this set. Because throughout the history of the Valiant and the Dynasty playing each other, it's never been close, never been back and forth. It's always one team getting a 4-0, a 3-0 win, and it's really fast and over quick. This was different though. Finally, we had a battle between the Valiant and Dynasty that pretty much went all the way. Back and forth every single map. Seoul Dynasty, they started off in Blizzard World. They were just rolling. Fleta came out with the Pharah, got a double kill. Then he swapped over to Widowmaker and just killed everything. I really do think this is going to be Fleta's best stage. The maps are really in favor of him. It's freaking Dorado, Gibraltar, Kings Row, Blizzard World. These are all Widowmaker maps. I think he's going to shine big time. And he did just that on Blizzard World as the Dynasty walked all over Valiant. We then moved on to Horizon Lunar Colony, where Seoul Dynasty actually hasn't lost at all throughout the season, and well, they got first held. So they definitely lost now. They just, I don't know, they were like forcing dive, which this is something they did throughout the set, and I'm going to talk more about it at the end, and I don't know why. You can run tanks, you can run Widowmaker on that map. There's a lot of really good tanky comps you can run, which they should have done, and if not, there was a lot of better dive comps they could have ran. Like, I really don't agree with that Genji Tracer, like, force a dive in the corner. That's not gonna work. It really isn't. I don't know why they didn't try to do what they did on Blizzard World, but it is what it is. They got first held. Los Angeles Valiant, they tied it up, and it was looking like a good set. We moved on to Lijiang Tower. We started off on Night Market. We did get to see some tanks from Seoul Dynasty here, which I'm happy we did, but this was pretty much it throughout the set. The Valiant were able to destroy Dynasty when they were running tanks, so maybe they got scared from this. I'm not too sure. But Valiant took the first round 100-0. Agilities looked really good on the Pharah. Soon was really good on the Brigitte. And we moved on to Control Center, and this round was extremely close. And we did get to see some dominating performances from Space and Zunba. Specifically Zunba, he was showing us why he was known as one of the best Zaryas in the world prior to the league. Still though, Space played great. And this wasn't the only map he was dominated on the Zarya. We'll talk about it more later. Valiant, they took it in a 99-99 insane fight, and they went up in the set 2-1. We now moved on to Gibraltar, which, as I said earlier, Fleta's map. It's where Widowmaker shines. It was pretty much his time to prove he's the carry. It's Seoul Dynasty's meta, and he did a really good job. He definitely outbattled Soon. He got the picks his team needed. It was still a struggle for them, though. It was really hard for them on defense to slow down the Los Angeles Valiant. Both teams just could not be stopped on their attacks. Literally, Fleta and Munchkin, they dominated on attack. Then on the Valiant's attack, Agilities looked insane on the Genji. He kept getting huge blades. Soon was getting the picks on Tracer. Then we even saw on the last point, Agility swapped over to the Bridget, which was a huge pick. They pretty much just bodied Jaehong on the Winston, and they took the point. And this is where we really started to see Seoul Dynasty. They kept forcing this Winston play into a Bridget. It didn't work out for them, and Valiant, they got the push off. We moved over to Valiant's second attack, and they had a decent push. They got it halfway through second. It was really close. Kariv did make a huge mistake on their overtime push, though. He had a really late trank, and that cost them. But it really wasn't over for them, because Seoul Dynasty went on their second attack, and literally, the LA Valiant had it won, but Seoul Dynasty, they came in staggered as hell and somehow pulled a miracle fight off, and they just snowballed it onto the second point. They capped it, and out of nowhere, when it looked like it was over, we were getting a fifth map. I was super excited about that. We moved on to Nepal, and it was pretty much Space's map. He dominated. He played great. I don't want to take anything away from him, but Seoul Dynasty, they kind of just walked into them with a freaking diva and said, here, charge your grav as fast as you want. I'm going to feed you, Space. I'm going to feed you. It was weird. They ran a Junkrat Pharah comp. I don't know. It was really weird. If you want to know more about this map, in-depth stuff, go watch my analysis on it last night. But yeah, it went in favor of the Valiant. Space looked really good on the Zarya. Seoul Dynasty got outplayed and they lost the set. A positive thing though, both teams looked really good in this match. It wasn't really like a battle of sloppiness or who was the worst team. It was a battle of who was the better team, and I liked that. So congratulations to the Valiant. Huge win for them. The Pacific standings are really close right now. Seoul Dynasty and Valiant, they're fighting for that first seed. Who's going to get the bye in the playoffs? I don't know yet, but I really would have liked to see Seoul Dynasty run more tanks and not force that diva. Maybe as they get more time in this meta, they'll see that, you know, you can't run that Tracer. You can't really run that diva. You need a Bridget. You need a Zarya. It's what's good right now. The only thing I can really think of that why Seoul Dynasty was trying to force it is maybe that Ryu Jahong is not comfortable on the Reinhardt or the Orisa right now, which would suck, but he did run Orisa on Blizzard World and he looked fine. So they could have done that in Horizon Lunar Colony too. We'll just have to see. Let's move on to the third set, which was the Shanghai Dragons, Dallas Fuel. Oh, the Bible thumps. The feels in this set were just crappy, man. Talking about it just depresses me because Shanghai's going to go 0-40. They're not going to win a set. That was their only chance to win this stage. If they won it, they possibly could have won another set, but they lost it. They're not going to win anything. They won't. Oh, and I just want to say this real quick. A lot of you guys have been saying, you know, I'm hating on the Dallas Fuel and I want them to lose so bad. It has nothing to do with that. I just want the Shanghai to win a set. Every single game the Shanghai Dragons play, I'm going to be cheering for them because I don't want a team to go 0-40. We're going to talk about it a little more after this set. I mean, we all know this was the match for Shanghai to win. If there were a game they would win this season or this stage, it would have been against the Dallas Fuel. They are the weakest team, but literally it has nothing to do with me not wanting Dallas Fuel to win or hating them. I'm happy they won. They deserve a win, and I hope they feel good about it. But yeah, let's talk about the set more in detail now. We started off on King's Row, and they gave us all the false hope we needed. I seriously thought the Shanghai Dragons were going to run away with this set after King's Row. They were clearly the better team. They were playing together great. Geguri was popping off on the Zarya. Like, they looked like a team. It was amazing. I don't know. Then we moved on to Hanamura. They took out Dia for some reason I don't know of. They put Damon in there. They ran double snipers. They had a decent first attack, but on their second attack, they struggled, man. They couldn't get anything done. And again, back to taking Dia out for Addo, I don't understand. If you want to run double sniper, you can do it with Addo and Dia. If you want to run a Tracer, Addo can play it. Addo can play anything. You should have had Addo and Dia in there together. They are the two carries. Damon hasn't impressed us once at all the entire stage or season so far. Just didn't make sense to me. I was really confused by it. They just kept walking into Mickey's Brigitte. Like, it was so dumb the way they were playing. Props to Mickey. He played great. He was making huge plays every single team fight on that second defense. I don't want to take anything away from him, but Shanghai was kind of feeding him. It was similar to Seoul Dynasty. They were just walking in, letting Mickey make plays on them. You have to run a Bridget in this meta. Dive is not going to work against it. It is simply not. We saw Damon make really dumb plays, just triple blinking onto the point, getting caught out by Mickey. It was really sad, and they lost the map, and all of a sudden, Shanghai, they look like a broken team, and Dallas Fuel, they look to be working together very well. We moved on to Oasis, and I was really sad going into this map because I had a good feeling that Dallas Fuel was going to pick it up. Throughout the league, Dallas Fuel, this is the one map that they've actually been really good at and that you can say they'll probably win. I mean, they beat New York Excelsior on it in stage 1 when they were looking really bad, and Pine was playing too. So yeah, Dallas Fuel is really good at Oasis. They've also been running this meta on Oasis their entire season. They just replaced the Roadhog with the Bridget now, and it's easy peasy for them. They took Shang out fairly easily. Moving on to the last map, Dorado, and it was somewhat close. Dia was really just trying his best. He was doing everything he possibly could to try to get this win for Shanghai. Just wasn't working for him though. He didn't have much help. Geguri didn't look effective. Addo didn't look effective. Fearless didn't look effective. And Dallas Fuel, they looked good, man. They were running Harry Hook, they were running Chips, Taimu, Mickey, the old school Envious roster. Then they had Siegel in there, OGE. I liked it. They were running this comp with Siegel on Diva, Mickey on Bridget, really tank heavy comp, and then they had Taimu on the Widowmaker and the McCree, basically what he's always shined at. They looked good, I'm not gonna lie, Dallas Fuel looked good, I'm really happy for them. Era got in there, and it seems like he might have full control because ACAM and Unco weren't playing, which was an interesting decision. It definitely paid off good for them. I'm definitely intrigued now to see if they're going to continue to run this roster and see how they can do against some of the better teams in the league. Pretty much though, Everything is in Aro's hands right now. He is the guy for the Dallas Fuel. He has one stage to turn their season around. If it goes decent, he gets the job as head coach, and the roster probably stays pretty similar to what it is now. They'll probably get a few additions. But if this goes downhill and they lose all 9 matches from here on out, Aro's probably gone, and I'd say 60% of the roster will probably be gone for Season 2. It'll be a complete revamp. So yeah, like I said, everything is in Aro's hands. Let's see what he can do for the Dallas Fuel. I'm happy. I'm excited. Good job to him yesterday and the Dallas Fuel. And now let's talk a little bit about Shanghai going 0-40. So as I already said, the big reason I was cheering on for Shanghai, this was their best chance to get a win for this stage and for the season. Them going 0-40 is not good for the Overwatch League, guys. It's bad. I can't think of any sports league or esports league where there is 40 plus matches played and a team literally doesn't win one game. That's really bad. Think about the NHL, NBA. I know there's basically double games, but teams still win at least 10 games at the bare minimum. The only big major sports league I can think of is like the NFL with 16 games. We've seen the Detroit Lions and we've seen the Cleveland Browns go 0-16, but it doesn't happen often, guys. So for a team to start off in the very first season going 0-40, that's really bad, especially for a nation like China who has so many players. The pool is absolutely massive. They should have gotten a team together that is way better than this. It literally makes no one look good. It makes Blizzard look bad. It makes the league look bad. It makes China look really bad. Whoever owns the spot, it makes them look bad. Makes the players look bad. Like, people are literally saying contenders teams can beat Shanghai really badly and would not go 0-40, which is true. British Hurricane, X6 Gaming, Fusion University, they probably could beat the Shanghai Dragons in a match. I literally wouldn't doubt it. Just doesn't look good, guys. And that's pretty much it for the 0-40. I hope they win a set, but they probably won't. Honestly, like, who can they beat? They're not going to beat Florida. They're not going to beat Shock. They can't beat Houston. Somebody needs to have a really bad game against them, and they need to have the games of their lives. Literally. That's the only way. And that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching the video, guys. Let me know down below what you think about everything. If you enjoyed it, leave a like, subscribe to my channel. I upload content like this every single day. And lastly, I will be streaming tonight after the Overwatch League. Come check it out, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.